The year is 1502. Deep inside a dimly lit Florentine workshop, a lone figure hunches over a cluttered desk, sketching furiously. Flickering candlelight dances across the walls, illuminating strange, futuristic blueprints designs that shouldn't exist in his time. They depict flying machines, armored vehicles, robotic warriors, and advanced weapons of war. But this is not some madman's fantasy. This is the work of Leonardo da Vinci, the Renaissance's greatest mind. Leonardo's ideas were centuries ahead of their time, so revolutionary that they could have changed the course of history forever. But something happened. His inventions were never built, his designs mysteriously disappeared, and some were even classified as forbidden knowledge. Why? What was so dangerous about Da Vinci's ideas that the world wasn't ready to see them? Even today, scientists and engineers are struggling to fully decode his notes. And as modern technology catches up, we're starting to realize something shocking. Leonardo da Vinci may have unlocked secrets far beyond his era. But was this genius suppressed? Were his greatest inventions deliberately buried? And if Soho wanted to keep them hidden? Get ready to uncover the lost blueprints, hidden secrets, and the untold story of Leonardo da Vinci's forbidden inventions. The year is 1452, and in a small Tuscan village called Vinci, Italy, a boy is born who will challenge the very limits of human imagination. This is an age of art, war, and secrecy, where the Catholic Church holds immense power, and science is often seen as heresy. It's a world where questioning authority can mean exile or worse. Leonardo da Vinci was not born into nobility, nor was he formally educated. He was an illegitimate child, denied access to the universities where scholars studied philosophy and science, but he was different. His genius could not be contained. Even as a child, he spent hours sketching the world around him: birds in flight, the mechanics of water, the inner workings of the human body, things no one else paid attention to. His father, a notary named Ser Piero, recognized his talent early on and sent him to train in Florence, the heart of the Renaissance. Here, the air was thick with the ideas of painters, sculptors, and scholars. It was a place of transformation, where artists were no longer just craftsmen, but visionaries shaping the future. Under the mentorship of Andrea del Verrocchio, one of Florence's most skilled artists, Leonardo mastered painting and sculpture. But unlike his peers, he was obsessed with more than just art. Machines, anatomy, architecture, and even warfare fascinated him. His notebooks filled with strange sketches of helicopters, robots, and submarines were decades, even centuries ahead of their time. But these were not just dreams, they were blueprints for the future. His obsession with the mysteries of nature and technology set him apart. He dissected human corpses in secret, studying the mechanics of the body in ways never done before. He spent hours watching birds, analyzing the patterns of their wings, convinced that humans could one day fly. But there was a problem. The world wasn't ready. Florence was still under the influence of the Catholic Church, which had strict control over scientific inquiry. The Church dictated what was acceptable knowledge, and anything that challenged its authority was seen as dangerous. Publicly, Leonardo was a celebrated artist. Privately, he was experimenting with ideas that could threaten the foundations of power. Some say he hid them deliberately, writing in mirror script to keep prying eyes from understanding his work. Others believe his inventions were deliberately suppressed by those in power, ideas that were too advanced, too threatening to the status quo. As his reputation grew, Leonardo found himself working for the most powerful figures in Italy. Lorenzo de' Medici, the ruler of Florence, took notice of his talent. Soon he was invited to the grand courts of Milan, Rome, and eventually, even France. But these powerful patrons were not just interested in his paintings. They wanted something more. They wanted his war machines. The Renaissance was not just an era of enlightenment, it was also a time of war. Leonardo was commissioned to design weapons unlike anything the world had ever seen: giant crossbows, armored vehicles, and machines of destruction that could change the course of battles. Some of these designs remained only on paper, while others, some say, were secretly built and tested. Despite his work for powerful rulers, Leonardo never fully trusted the world around him. He saw how quickly innovation could turn into a tool for destruction. Many of his ideas, his early sketches of a tank, a diving suit, a flying machine, were locked away, never fully developed. Some believe he did this intentionally, fearing what his inventions could become in the wrong hands. But Leonardo was no ordinary man. He would not stop. He would continue pushing the boundaries of possibility, even if it meant working in secrecy. As the years passed, his mind overflowed with ideas. He sketched designs for self-propelled carts, automated robots, hydraulic pumps, and even a machine resembling an early form of a helicopter. He envisioned cities built on scientific principles, bridges that could span great distances, and even a method for human flight. Yet, the greatest irony was this: most of his inventions never saw the light of day. Were they too radical for their time? Did his patrons ignore them? Or were some of his ideas suppressed, hidden away, stolen, or deliberately erased from history? Even today, we still don't know the full extent of Leonardo's genius. Some of his lost manuscripts remain missing, locked away in private collections, forgotten in archives, or destroyed by time. But what if I told you some of his inventions were not lost at all? What if they were hidden away by those who feared what they could do? What if Leonardo da Vinci's most groundbreaking ideas were deliberately buried, never meant to be discovered? Little did he know, his greatest discoveries would one day be lost, buried in forgotten manuscripts, waiting to be uncovered. Leonardo da Vinci was not just an artist, was a visionary engineer, a scientist centuries ahead of his time. His notebooks contain over 13,000 pages of designs, sketches, and theories, many of which were never built, forgotten, or even suppressed. But why? Why did so many of Leonardo's ideas remain on paper? And more importantly, what happened to them? By the late 1400s, Italy was a land of warring city-states. Political intrigue, betrayals, and shifting alliances dominated the landscape. Rulers needed more than just art. They needed weapons. Leonardo found himself working for Ludovico Sforza, the Duke of Milan, as a military engineer. He proposed machines of war unlike Leonardo da Vinci's mind was unlike any other. His notebooks were filled with ideas that pushed the limits of what humanity could achieve. But behind his artistic brilliance and scientific curiosity, there was a deeper mystery that historians are still trying to unravel. Why did so many of his greatest inventions remain hidden? And what happened during the undocumented periods of his life? Leonardo's fascination with secrecy wasn't just a quirk, it was a necessity. In his time, questioning established knowledge could be dangerous, even deadly. The Church had strict control over scientific thought, and anything that challenged religious doctrine was labeled as heresy. Some of Leonardo's ideas, particularly those that dealt with human flight, anatomy, and war machines, were too advanced for his era. He knew that if the wrong people saw his work, it could either be stolen or suppressed. This is why he wrote in mirror script, why he buried his most radical theories in coded notes, and why he often abandoned projects before they could be fully realized. But there were other, more mysterious aspects of Leonardo's life, gaps in history where no records exist, periods of time where he seemingly vanished without explanation. What was he doing during these missing years? Some believe he was secretly working on inventions that were considered too dangerous for public knowledge. Others think he was conducting experiments in remote locations, away from the eyes of the church and political leaders. Could it be that Leonardo da Vinci built and tested some of his forbidden inventions in secret? His fascination with flight, for example, was more than just theoretical. His sketches showed intricate designs for gliders, parachutes, and even a prototype of a helicopter. But what if he wasn't just sketching? Some accounts suggest that Leonardo may have attempted test flights with his students or apprentices, conducting trials in isolated areas. If any of these tests had been successful, would he have been forced to keep them secret? And if they failed, did he destroy any evidence to prevent accusations of heresy? Then there was his work on human anatomy, which went far beyond anything previously studied. At a time when human dissection was restricted, Leonardo secretly performed over 30 dissections of human cadavers, meticulously sketching muscles, organs, and even the brain. His understanding of the human body was so advanced that modern doctors still marvel at the accuracy of his drawings. But why did he stop? Why were many of his anatomical studies never published in his lifetime? Some believe the church intervened, warning Leonardo to cease his research. Others claim that he chose to hide his findings, fearing that they could be misused in ways he never intended. And then there's his connection to secret societies. Some historians speculate that Leonardo may have been involved with the Priory of Sion, or even early Masonic groups organizations that valued forbidden knowledge and scientific discovery but operated in secrecy. Could these connections have influenced his work? Could they have helped protect some of his most radical ideas? Leonardo was a man who saw beyond his own time, but he was also aware of the dangers that came with knowledge. He understood that ideas, once released into the world, could be twisted, weaponized, or suppressed. And so, many of his greatest discoveries remained locked away in notebooks, hidden in mirror script, waiting for a future that might be ready for them. As Leonardo's fame grew, so did his entanglements with powerful figures. By the early 1500s, he had left Italy for France, at the invitation of King Francis I. Some believe this move was not just about patronage, was about protection. By this point in his life, Leonardo had worked for popes, dukes, and warlords. He had designed machines of war and inventions that could change the world. But was he now a threat? Did he know too much? There is speculation that Leonardo's final years in France were not just about painting and architecture, but about something far greater. Some researchers believe he took his most valuable secrets with him, keeping them hidden from those who might misuse them. Did he pass down this knowledge to trusted students? Or did he destroy it to ensure it would never fall into the wrong hands? His famous Codex Leicester, a collection of scientific observations and theories, resurfaced centuries later. It contained his ideas on hydraulics, geology, and astronomy, proof that he was thinking far beyond the Renaissance. But what about the missing notebooks? What about the blueprints for machines that were never built? Some historians claim that Leonardo deliberately hid his most important discoveries, scattering his notes across different collections, making sure that no single person could ever possess the full scope of his knowledge. His final days remain shrouded in mystery. Leonardo died in 1519, reportedly in the arms of King Francis I. But what happened to his last works? Many of his papers disappeared. Some were passed to his students, others were lost in wars, and some perhaps were taken by secret organizations that wanted to keep his knowledge buried. Could it be that Leonardo's most groundbreaking ideas never truly disappeared? Could they still be hidden, waiting to be found? One thing is certain: Leonardo da Vinci was more than just a painter or inventor. He was a man who saw the future before it arrived. And the world may still not be ready for all that he discovered. Leonardo da Vinci's genius was undeniable, but what if the world only knows a fraction of his true potential? For centuries, historians have studied his notebooks, deciphering his inventions and theories, yet many questions remain unanswered. There are missing pieces, unexplained gaps in his life, and the possibility that some of his most revolutionary discoveries were deliberately erased from history. But what if those ideas were never truly lost? What if someone else took them? The more one examines Leonardo's legacy, the more anomalies appear. Many of his groundbreaking concepts, machines of flight, advanced weaponry, and even anatomical discoveries were only rediscovered centuries later. Some of them resemble modern technologies with eerie precision. Did Leonardo simply predict the future with astonishing accuracy, or was his work repurposed in secret? One of the most baffling aspects of Leonardo's legacy is the Codex Atlanticus, a collection of his scientific notes and mechanical drawings. This massive volume was scattered and lost for centuries before it was finally reassembled. But when it was rediscovered, scholars noted something strange: certain pages were missing. These weren't just any pages. They contained sketches of machines and devices that could have changed history. Who took them? Were they stolen by rival scientists? Confiscated by the church? Or did Leonardo himself hide them to prevent their misuse? One particularly intriguing case is the Vitruvian Man, Leonardo's famous anatomical sketch. It's widely regarded as a study of human proportions, but some researchers believe it holds deeper meaning, perhaps a coded message about biomechanics, energy, or even an early understanding of robotics. Could it be that Leonardo had already conceptualized something close to artificial intelligence? It might sound far-fetched, but his notes show detailed observations on automated movement, gears, and mechanics principles that wouldn't become mainstream until centuries later. Then, there's the question of his influence on later inventors. Some of the greatest technological minds in history, from Nikola Tesla to the Wright brothers, created machines that eerily resemble Leonardo's original sketches. But how did they develop such similar concepts? Was it pure coincidence, or had Leonardo's missing pages already fallen into the hands of secret societies, hidden scientific groups, or powerful organizations looking to control innovation? The evidence points to one unsettling possibility. Leonardo's inventions may not have been lost, but rather kept from the public on purpose. Leonardo da Vinci was not just an inventor, was a man who understood the power of knowledge, and he knew that power could be dangerous. It's no coincidence that he often avoided publishing his discoveries. Some of his most ambitious ideas, such as his underwater breathing device, were intentionally withheld because he feared they could be used for warfare. But what if someone else took those ideas and used them anyway? The Vatican has long been rumored to hold secret archives, a vast collection of documents containing lost knowledge from throughout history. Some researchers believe that Leonardo's missing works may be among them, locked away to prevent their ideas from disrupting the established order. If Leonardo had developed working prototypes of his inventions, and they had fallen into the wrong hands, could they have been hidden to maintain control over technological progress? There's also the strange case of his lost robotic knight. In the 1490s, Leonardo designed what appears to be a fully functional mechanical soldier, capable of independent movement. The design disappeared for centuries, but when modern engineers reconstructed it based on his notes, they found that it worked. Had someone built it before? If so, where did it go? Could secret military groups have experimented with Leonardo's robotics centuries before modern machines were even conceived? Even more mysterious is the speculation surrounding his potential discoveries in energy and physics. Some believe that Leonardo's notebooks contain coded references to energy systems that could have challenged conventional power sources. His fascination with geometry, magnetism, and motion suggests that he may have been exploring concepts that would later become the foundation for modern physics. Could he have been close to unlocking something that threatened the balance of power in his time? As the years passed, Leonardo became increasingly secretive. He left Italy for France, taking his most valuable works with him. Some believe he destroyed certain documents to keep them from falling into the wrong hands. Others suspect that his knowledge was passed down in secret, hidden within coded texts, or entrusted to select individuals who would continue his work in obscurity. One of the greatest mysteries of Leonardo's life is the sheer amount of knowledge he accumulated. Knowledge that, for reasons unknown, never fully emerged in the centuries that followed. Did he see something we were never meant to understand? Did he create something that powerful forces worked to suppress? If so, where is it now? And is the world finally ready for Leonardo da Vinci's most forbidden inventions? Leonardo da Vinci's story is one of unparalleled brilliance, a man whose mind was centuries ahead of its time. But beyond the inventions and lost manuscripts, his legacy raises a more profound question. What happens when knowledge is too advanced for the world that discovers it? His life was a constant balancing act between curiosity and caution, innovation and suppression, secrecy and revelation. Even today, we are still uncovering pieces of his genius, raising the possibility that much of what he created remains hidden. Despite the loss of many of his original works, the impact of Leonardo's ideas is undeniable. His studies of human anatomy formed the foundation of modern medical illustration. His sketches of flying machines anticipated aeronautics. His mechanical designs contained the principles that would later drive automation and robotics. But these are only the ideas we know about. If even a fraction of his missing notebooks were to be found, they could reshape our understanding of engineering, physics, and perhaps even energy. In the centuries following his death, his works were scattered across different owners, some kept in royal collections, others lost in private archives. The Codex Leicester, one of his scientific journals, resurfaced in the 20th century and was purchased by Bill Gates, proving that even today his knowledge is considered a treasure. But what about the rest? What about the pages that never reappeared? Theories persist that Leonardo's most ambitious discoveries were either hidden or deliberately buried by those who feared their potential. And it wasn't just the church or ruling elites who may have played a role in keeping his work suppressed. As history progressed, world powers sought control over technological advancements. Could it be that some of Leonardo's principles were later rediscovered in secret, fueling the rapid advancements of the modern age? If certain factions had access to his work long before the rest of the world, how might that have shaped global power dynamics? His move to France under the protection of King Francis I suggests that even in his later years, he was careful about whom he shared his knowledge with. Did he entrust any of his secrets to his royal patron? And if so, where did those secrets go after his passing? Some believe that hidden caches of Leonardo's notes may still exist, waiting to be uncovered. Others speculate that his works were quietly incorporated into classified research long before they could be made public. Regardless of where his missing discoveries ended up, one thing is clear: Leonardo da Vinci's influence on science and technology is far greater than we ever imagined. But could it have been even greater if the world had been ready for it? The legacy of Leonardo da Vinci goes beyond the physical artifacts he left behind. His true gift to humanity was the way he thought a method of inquiry that embraced observation, experimentation, and imagination. He saw connections where others saw boundaries. He believed in the power of ideas to shape reality. And most importantly, he understood that some knowledge is too powerful to be placed in the wrong hands. Today, we live in a world that has finally caught up with some of Leonardo's ideas. Robotics, artificial intelligence, aviation, and even biomechanics all reflect the concepts he pioneered centuries ago. But as technology advances at an unprecedented rate, are we facing the same dilemma Leonardo once faced? Are there ideas that are too dangerous, too disruptive, or too revolutionary to be released? If Leonardo were alive today, would he be a celebrated innovator or a figure monitored and controlled by modern institutions, afraid of what he might create? His story also forces us to ask, what other knowledge has been lost to history? If a single man, centuries ago, could conceptualize flight, war machines, and automation without access to modern tools, how much other forgotten wisdom might exist in hidden manuscripts, lost civilizations, or secret archives? Could there be other Leonardos in history whose work was buried before it could ever change the world? The search for Leonardo's missing works continues. Researchers still comb through old manuscripts, scan historical texts, and analyze his surviving sketches for clues. Some believe that discoveries yet to come may finally reveal the full extent of his genius. What if one day a lost notebook is uncovered, containing blueprints for an invention so radical that it could alter everything we know? What if Leonardo's greatest idea has been waiting, hidden in the past, for a time when the world is finally ready? For now, all we can do is wonder, search, and continue to learn from the fragments of knowledge he left behind. Leonardo da Vinci was a man who lived centuries ahead of his time, and in many ways, he is still waiting for us to catch up. His mind shaped the world we live in today, but perhaps the greatest secret of all is this. Maybe we still haven't seen the full extent of Leonardo da Vinci's genius. Leonardo da Vinci's legacy is undeniable. He was a man ahead of his time, a visionary who saw the world not as it was, but as it could be. Yet, despite all we know about him, many of his most advanced ideas remain a mystery. His missing notebooks, his unbuilt inventions, and the secrecy surrounding his discoveries all raise an unsettling question. What if we still haven't uncovered his greatest work? Even today, historians and scientists are trying to piece together the full scope of Leonardo's genius. What if one of his lost blueprints held the key to an invention that could revolutionize the modern world? What if some of his ideas have already been rediscovered not by the public? His story reminds us that knowledge is power, and power is often controlled. But what do you think? Do you believe Leonardo da Vinci's most dangerous inventions were deliberately hidden? Were they stolen, destroyed, or locked away in secret archives? Or did he himself decide that the world wasn't ready for them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this story fascinating, wait until you hear about Nikola Tesla's secret experiments. Some say they hold the key to free energy, wireless electricity, and even anti-gravity technology. Could Tesla have been silenced just like Leonardo? Click on the next video to uncover the truth. Before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into the mysteries of history's greatest minds. Until next time, keep questioning, keep searching, and remember, the past still holds secrets waiting to be discovered.